We love to think we're our dog's ultimate bodyguard. We buy the best gear, keep them safe near traffic, and make sure they don't swallow something questionable off the sidewalk. But real protection isn't just physical. To your dog, you are their entire safety department. There's a silent contract between you that says, I trust you with my heart, and you make sure the world doesn't feel overwhelming. And sometimes, without meaning to, we break that contract in small ways. One of those moments is when we force interaction with strangers. Someone rushes up saying, your dog is adorable, and before you can respond, they're already reaching out. If your dog leans back, tucks their tail, or looks at you for help and you don't step in, they feel exposed. You are supposed to be the barrier. When you don't protect their space, they learn they may have to protect themselves, and that's often how fear-based reactions begin. Number 2 is when you punish warning signals, what I call the broken alarm error. Picture yourself at a restaurant and someone keeps poking you with a fork. Your first instinct would be to say, hey, stop. Now imagine someone bigger comes over and punishes you just for speaking up. That's essentially what happens when we scold a dog for growling, stiffening, or trying to move away. If you punish the growl, you aren't fixing the fear. You're just taking the batteries out of the smoke alarm. The fire is still burning, but now you won't know about it until the house is already on fire. When you shut down a warning signal, the dog learns that expressing discomfort is unsafe. Next time, they might skip the growl entirely and go straight to the bite because they feel they have no other way to protect themselves. Instead of getting mad at the growl, look at what is making them growl and remove the stress. Respect the warning, and you'll keep everyone a lot safer. Emotional protection also disappears when the environment becomes overwhelming. Emotional protection starts to fade when the environment becomes overwhelming. What feels like a fun, lively outing to us, like a crowded market, a loud festival, or a busy family gathering, can feel completely different to a dog. Their senses are far more sensitive than ours. They can hear subtle sounds from far away and detect scents we would never even notice. In a packed park, their nervous system is flooded with constant movement, noise, smells, and unpredictable energy. If there's no clear escape and no guidance from you, they can feel stranded in the middle of it all. When you notice your dog pacing, panting heavily, scanning the environment, or looking unsettled, they aren't trying to be difficult. They are overstimulated. This is the moment they need you to step in and make a decision for them. Sometimes protection simply means recognizing that the outing has reached its limit and guiding them back to a quieter space. Number 4, when rules suddenly change. Dogs are big fans of a solid routine. They find safety in knowing exactly what is expected of them, but humans are, well, a little messy. Sometimes we let the dog on the couch because we had a bad day and need a cuddle, but then the next day, when we're wearing our fancy work clothes, we yell at them for jumping up on that same couch. To a dog, this is like living in a house where the gravity changes randomly. Unpredictability replaces security, and your dog starts to feel like they're walking on eggshells. They don't know if you're going to be the fun human or the angry human. Consistent boundaries create safety. It doesn't really matter if the rule is no dogs on the couch or all dogs on the couch, as long as it's the same rule every single day. When you stay consistent, your dog can stop worrying about the rules and start focusing on being your best friend. Number 5, when you ignore subtle stress signals. Dogs have a whole library of body language they use to say, I'm uncomfortable, but most of it is very quiet. They yawn when they aren't tired. They lick their lips when there's no food around. They turn their head away or freeze like a statue. These are early cries for help. When we overlook these signs and keep pushing the dog to be friendly or stay still, the dog feels unheard and unsupported. It's like telling a friend you're scared of heights and then forcing them to stand on the edge of a cliff while you take a selfie. Over time, if a dog feels their subtle signals are ignored, they will stop trying to talk to you and either shut down completely or escalate to more obvious and usually more aggressive behaviors. Start noticing the whispers of your dog's body language. When you see a lip lick or a head turn, acknowledge it. Give them a break. They'll appreciate you more than you know. Number 6 is when you react with sudden anger, what we can call the emotional climate of the home. Dogs are incredibly sensitive to changes in mood. You might be yelling at a football game or slamming a cupboard because you're frustrated about something that has nothing to do with them, but your dog doesn't understand context. All they feel is that the person they depend on for safety has suddenly become loud, intense, and unpredictable. Even if the outburst isn't directed at them, it can feel destabilizing. You may notice them quietly leaving the room or becoming hyper alert, watching you closely to see if another explosion is coming. In that moment, the emotional atmosphere of the house shifts from calm to uncertain. Your dog is always tuning into your energy, even when you think they aren't paying attention. You don't have to be perfectly calm all the time, but being aware that your frustration affects their sense of security can help you pause and regulate yourself. Number 7 is what I call the anchorless moment, when your dog faces fear without your guidance. Thunder, fireworks, or even a trip to the vet can trigger a powerful fight or flight response. In those moments, your dog is instinctively searching for stability. They're looking to you to understand whether the situation is truly dangerous. If they're left alone to just tough it out, or if you respond with frustration because they won't stop shaking, they can feel emotionally adrift. It's not just fear of the noise or the place, it's the feeling of facing it without support. You don't need to overreact or amplify their panic, but you do need to offer steady, structured reassurance. Create a safe, quiet space. Use soft background noise if needed, and stay nearby with a calm, relaxed body. Your presence communicates safety more powerfully than words ever could. When your dog senses that you are calm and grounded, their brain begins to recalibrate. Being that stable anchor during their most vulnerable moments is one of the deepest forms of protection you can give. Your dog doesn't need you to be a perfect trainer or a professional animal psychologist. They just need you to be their advocate. They need to know that when the world gets a little too loud or a stranger gets a little too close, you've got their back. Emotional protection is all about listening to the things they can't say out loud. It's about being the person who says no to the world so you can say yes to your dog's safety. When you start recognizing these 7 moments, you aren't just managing a pet. You're honoring a friendship. You're proving to your dog that their trust in you is well placed. So, next time you're out and about, keep an eye on your pup. Watch for the yawns, the lip licks, and the glances your way. Be the bouncer, be the anchor, and be the consistent leader. Your dog might not be able to thank you in words, but the way they'll finally relax and fall asleep at your feet will tell you everything you need to know.